Hi, Fat Aussie Barstard. This is in response to your video about guns. It's something I feel pretty strongly about, that we do have the right to bear arms. And my uncle, my wife's uncle, here in Australia was a national competition shooter, and this was like 30 years ago or something like that. And he's a very smart guy, and you really have to probe him about the gun issue to get feelings like yours. He just says, yeah, well, the government bought him back, so, and I think that might be something you'd find with a lot of people, especially with the large population in Australia who must have been fine with guns until the government came in and did something that most people can look at and pick apart as being, illogical, because the protection of yourself, lying within yourself, is a very important aspect of life. I mean, we have this helpless mentality now where, you even shouldn't go try to help somebody who's been injured. You need to call 000, or you need to get somebody else. I'm not talking about looking for a doctor, I mean waiting 10-15 minutes for the police to arrive to take care of, a burglary or whatever. And then, it's just such a bad situation when you've removed the ability of a person to protect themselves. And also in such a mineral-rich country like Australia, as you said, I think it's bullshit that the only remaining wars will be nuclear or not up close and personal. There'll still be an invasion. Why would you plunder a land if not to take the shit back with you? So, we've got some neighbors that have a lot of people who need a lot of stuff. So, it's not something that I'm concerned about, but it's certainly not improbable that there would be a land invasion. And of course, army confronting an armed citizenry has a much harder time, especially citizenry who just know how to use guns and can pick up discarded weapons and use them and just band together instantly. And just to digress, the founders of America, many of them didn't think that a standing army was a good idea, and that's why we had militias. And every war needed to be funded, so every war up until that point required a congressional stamp. Everybody in the Congress had to say yes, or it had to, a war bill had to pass the Congress, and it had to fund that war. So there was a specific mechanism of funding, and we don't have those anymore. It's just all from the general fund, or it's much different here than it is in the States. But the other thing that I wanted to say was that I disagree with you on requiring safes and things. I think it's unfortunate when, an accident does occur because somebody who's not trained on a firearm has access to one. And I would be in favor of legislation that would cause that to be a criminal offense, because it's negligence. There probably is a law in the books already that could be prosecuted under. If I'm a dad and I get drunk and leave the gun out, or if I'm a dad and I have a 4-year-old child and I don't have a proper hidden place for my gun or something, I think a jury of one's peers, could decide whether or not the actions that led up to the the death of a child or the other accidental injury from the gun, a jury could decide whether or not that was a criminal occurrence or not. So anyway, that is sort of how I feel. I don't know how long this is. Cheers.